Mhm. All right, so I showed you my artichoke plant on a couple weeks ago, and since then I've actually picked several artichokes, but I'm gonna pick a few more because I'm having company tonight and we're gonna have stuffed artichokes for an appetizer, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. So first of all, you want to pick artichokes that are mature and big, and of all of them, this one looks like the winner right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and snip this. I also am gonna need some parsley for this dish, so I'm gonna get a good bunch of parsley. So when you pick things from your garden, it's really important to wash them thoroughly because there could be bugs in there. So I usually take a tub of water and I rinse the parsley in just plain water, and then I just make sure that there's no bugs hiding in there. And these looks really clean, so that's great. So now I'm just gonna get some paper towel and call this one good because it's kind of an open leaf crop, so I don't really worry about things really being able to hide too much in there, so they would come out in that water if it did. So now I'm just gonna let these dry out. The artichoke, however, I'm going to actually submerge it all the way in water, and I'm gonna put some salt in there because with the artichoke, because it's got a lot of leaves that are tightly together, there could be bugs hiding in between the leaves. I'm just going to let them go ahead and soak in the water, and I'll check back to see if there's any bugs, if there was any bugs in there. Okay, so over here I've soaked this artichoke for several minutes, probably about 15 to 20 minutes, and in salt water, and I don't see any little bugs, so that's good. But it's always a good idea because the last ones I did get some earwigs, a couple earwigs were hiding in there, and then another time I had some broccoli and there was a big worm in it, so you always want to do that. Okay, so then over here I have my artichokes, which are now fork tender, so the fork easily goes through the stem, and that's how I test it. Now you want to let these cool off before you start the next step, which is going to be to take out the to separate the leaves and to take out the center choke area, which is got all the fibers and stuff. But I'll show you that as soon as it cools off. It's too hot to touch right now. In the meantime, I did go ahead and chop up a full head of garlic and about a cup of fresh parsley from the garden. I also want to go ahead and start sauteing up this the breadcrumbs that are going to go inside. So I have a half a stick of butter, so a quarter cup of butter melting in my sauce in my frying pan, and then I'm going to get some of the extra virgin olive oil and give that a good probably quarter cup in there. Now you can use panko breadcrumbs or any kind of store-bought breadcrumbs, seasoned or not. I mean, it's up to you. If you buy seasoned ones, then you don't need to necessarily season your breadcrumbs as much. But what I've done is I did have some bread that I wanted to use up in my refrigerator, so I put them on my cookie sheet and I opened them up, and I just baked them at 175 degrees for, oh, probably an hour until they were crunchy. And then I went ahead and I just diced it up, and that's what I'm going to use for my stuffing mix. So once your butter and oil melts, then you can go ahead and add your breadcrumbs in there, and you want to toast them, and then we're going to add all of our seasonings to that, and then we'll stuff the artichokes, and then we're going to bake them, and they're going to be delicious, a delicious appetizer. Almost everything from the garden. I'd say that's at least 3 cups of dried breadcrumbs. And then you toss them in the olive oil and the butter. And you want to continue tossing them and cooking them until they kind of get toasty. Everything gets all nice and toasty. I may have to add some additional olive oil to this because it's looking a little dry actually, or more butter, or both. These breadcrumbs are a little bit large, so I'm going to go ahead and smash them a little bit more because they have to be fine enough to fit in between the leaves. Okay, so now I'm going to let these cool off, and then after this cools off, I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese into that, and then we're going to use this to stuff the artichokes with. Meanwhile, the artichokes are cool enough where I can touch them, and I can go ahead and I'm going to open up these leaves like so. And then you're going to get to a part where they're very small. And what you want to do is you want to scoop out this center area right here, because that is going to have all the fibers that you don't want to eat. So I'm going to take all this fibrous stuff out. And there's lots of fibers that you just scoop out of there. And underneath that part is actually where the heart is. So you want to just make sure you're only taking out the fibers. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on to 425 degrees. Meanwhile, I'm still waiting for my breadcrumbs to cool. And the last ingredient in here is going to be the Parmesan cheese. And it's going to be probably about a cup of Parmesan cheese that I'm going to add to this. But I have to wait till it's completely cool, otherwise it will melt and I won't be able to stuff my artichokes. Okay, so I added about a cup of Parmesan cheese in here, and now I'm just going to stuff these this breadcrumb mixture between all the leaves as best as I can. So you kind of want to spread them apart and make sure that you've got some breadcrumbs in between everything. And then once you get a good amount in between all of your leaves, then you put it in your pan and you kind of open it up and put a whole bunch in the middle there. Okay. And you can see what a beautiful appetizer that's going to make. You probably only need one per party, but I always overdo it. So next, you're going to drizzle olive oil over the top. There. And then what I do is I put about a cup of water down on the bottom of the pan, and then I cook them in the oven until they're heated back through. And it probably will take about 20-25 minutes. And I'll show you, I'll take a picture of it when I'm done.